Hello and welcome back. Thank you for being here. If you're new, please remember to join me on YouTube, Rumble, and Substack. Those are my favorite platforms. Today I would like to discuss one of the wildest cards as far as presidency goes. The newly elected president of Argentina, Javier Milei. He is quite fascinating in my opinion. I see many parallels between him and, let's just say, Vladimir Zelensky, for example. Both are, at a first glance, unlikely candidates. They're not career politicians, which could have been actually quite refreshing under different circumstances. And both promise to deliver a positive shock to the existing order. In my previous video, I discussed Milei's promised shock therapy, which he has not failed to deliver. During his first week as president, Javier Milei announced national currency devaluation by 54%. He announced tax rises and truly massive public service spending cuts that include a freeze on public works, an increase in retirement ordered by decree, a reduction of subsidies for transportation and energy, fewer federal funds transferred to provinces, and the cancellation of official advertising, among other measures. Additionally, he cut the number of government ministries in half. For example, he did away with the Ministry of Culture and the Ministry of Women, Gender, and Diversity and will consolidate other ministries. During his election campaign, Milei promised to dollarize and to disband the Central Bank of Argentina. Well, what do we see now? Instead, just a week into his presidency, his finance minister, Luis Caputo, who, as I mentioned previously, is an ex-Wall Street and Deutsche Bank banker, hired his friend, another JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank banker, as the head of the Central Bank of Argentina. The pledge to adopt the United States dollar as the national currency has been shelved too, by the way. It's truly incredible how quickly election campaign loud slogans turned into shelved empty promises. Javier Milei might be a wild card, but we all know that Argentina's sinking economy must be one of the most difficult challenges to deal with. Argentina is heavily in debt. It owes $43 billion to the IMF, and its central bank reserves are virtually non-existent. During his presidential campaign, Milei made a promise that he would not raise taxes. Well, as it turns out, he has since changed his mind. Going forward, imports will be taxed at 17.5%. There will be a new levy on exports, and the change in income tax that was promoted by the previous government will be completely revoked. All of these changes in just a matter of a week. Let me know what you make of this in the comments below. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Since Milei was inaugurated, El País is reporting the most visible effects 24 hours after he announced measures that included a peso devaluation of 50% against the dollar, a rapid rise in prices of up to 100%, and a calm reaction from the markets. The International Monetary Fund and financial markets actually welcomed currency devaluation. It is a desperate measure, but in theory, it is one of the ways to deal with the economic crisis in Argentina. I talked a little bit more about this in my previous video on Milei. It further goes on to say that the immediate consequence of the measure is, without a doubt, a strong increase in inflation. Between Monday and Wednesday, for example, the price of meat increased by more than 40%, while the price of international plane tickets doubled. Businesses warn that today's quotes, today's prices, may not be valid tomorrow. And this is because with inflation increasing so rapidly, prices on many products and services change literally on a daily basis. While Milei's government is not ready to fully dollarize just yet, the US dollar is being used as an alternative currency, so customers may be able to pay in dollars or in pesos. Because of this devaluation of Argentina's currency, inflation is expected to be around 40% on a monthly basis. This is an incredibly difficult position for a country where 40% of the population already lives in poverty, and another 10% on top of that is destitute and completely unable to purchase food. During his inauguration speech, Milei made it clear that the people of Argentina need to prepare for really tough times. as the result of a $20 billion cut to the public sector and more poverty in the short term. Milei said, quote, "There is no possible alternative to the adjustment. There is no money." A really concerning forecast was shared by an Argentinian economist who said that the mega devaluation may turn into hyperinflation. He believes that the lack of price control measures in Milei's plan will aggravate the scenario. In recent weeks, since the presidential election runoff, prices have risen 50% and they will continue to rise. Due to the suspension of all public works, one of the most vulnerable groups of workers will be either let go or laid off. We're talking about nearly 500,000 people here. There are already accusations made by unions in Argentina that these dramatic measures, specifically spending cuts, will only cause loss of income and loss of jobs, which will increase poverty levels in Argentina above 50%. Can you imagine that? These measures are unfortunately just the first round of Javier Milei's promised shock therapy. It is becoming very clear that it won't be a quick fix, and just as he promised, it won't be a painless process for millions who are already barely surviving. Half of the population lives in poverty already, and with Javier Milei changing his opinion on key issues in a matter of days, or maybe this wasn't a change after all, we can only speculate. It remains to be seen whether this is a new, fresh disaster or a turn for the better. I would say that improvement has to be seen relatively soon, within the next 12 months at the most, for the people of Argentina not to be completely and utterly let down. Thank you for your time and thank you for watching this video. Remember to give it a thumbs up. It does go a long way. Subscribe and find me on Substack, where among other types of content, every Friday you will find a weekly newsletter with the key events and key economic data that will help you stay up to date on the most important news and events. Have a great rest of your day and I will see you in my new one tomorrow. Bye for now.